Hello, Fredericksburg. Hello, Facebook. Hello, everybody in the world. I turned it off. It is I, Melvin Brown. Welcome to Spirituality Night Live. It's Thursday, a little after 7. Boy, I am whipped. I've been moving this past 2 weeks, or technically the month. I'm so behind, but I'm here, so you have to bear with me. And I didn't slip tonight on my skates. But that's okay, because it's like that sometimes in the world. You skate, you walk, you trip, you slip, you fall. But we like to fall forward and keep getting it going. Tonight, well, first I gotta say thank you to Unity of Fredericksburg for being here in this fantastic, fun space. Why am I on skates? Because I like it. And it's fun. And it makes me feel free. And it makes me just feel young again. I was looking around, I was like, damn, look at my bald spot showing up. When I used to skate on these floors as a little boy, I had a whole lot of hair. That's right, that's what these floors, these original floors from Skateland back in the day, not the Macedonia Skateland, the original Fredericksburg Skateland. That's what these floors are. So tonight on Spirituality Night Live, we're going to do a little unpacking from last week. Reverend Raymond Anderson and I had a fantastic, wild conversation, a little radical. And I've had conversations outside of last week with a few friends. And so for the next couple of weeks, we're going to take apart a little bit of what he and I were talking about. One of my friends, her name is Terry DeBold. She will be meeting us next week, and we will be talking a little bit more about it. Her background is a more traditional view, but as a therapist, she might have a way to relate to it that other people aren't, or that could be more comfortable with. And another special friend of mine is here with me tonight. Her name is Claire Whitman. And Claire has a fantastic, magical background. She's a very special person. I didn't ask her for her bio, but I can tell you that she's very interesting. I think she's the daughter of a clairvoyant parent, and I don't know what the other one is, but Claire is just really special. So I'm looking forward to you meeting her tonight and letting us go a little bit deeper into that stuff that we were talking about last week. That not so common way of looking at God, the voice, God. Did I catch everything? So, before I go any further, I'd like to bring on my friend, Claire Whitman. Hello, Claire.
Hello, Melvin.
Thanks for coming here tonight. And thanks for helping me get my mind in a place that I could actually, the truth is, last night I said, Claire, I don't even know if I'm ready for tomorrow. I haven't even thought about everything. But then Claire and her little special Claire, right, she got me over my little thing. So here I am. So thank you, Claire, for making sure that I showed up today to do this because I was going to say no and do it next week. Thank you.
You're awesome, so why not?
Claire, let's just get right into it. You were here because you called me after the show last week, and you said, I think your words were, you guys did a great job of opening the door, but you need to swing that door open a little further and get there deeply. And I thought, well, maybe we should continue to open slowly, but there are other people who don't have who don't necessarily or who aren't in alignment with the traditional view of understanding God, but yours is a more universal way of looking at God. So can you pick up and tell me how you view God? What is that? Did I say that right? A universal way?
Yeah, I hear you. For me, everything is universal more than it is God. And I maybe have to go back a little bit as I was brought up Protestant. And so the church of a Protestant belief is very boring. And there's just nothing where a child's eye can rest on and you can dream, because that's what you do when you're in church and you're a child, you're bored. Anyway, but there was a lot of talk of that I was a sinner and that, God would punish me. And well, I was 16, 17, and I liked to look at boys, that you do at that time. And so, not knowing what it was I had done, I was a sinner. And I just felt this heaviness of God coming down on me anytime, because that's what I was told. And one day, I just decided that's not going to happen anymore. I'm not. And I stepped away from God. It made me lose something, but that was better than this fear that I was driven by. But I always would go to different churches and stand outside and listen to the music in the church, which just filled me up with the feeling of angels being present. And so for many, many years, I absolutely, for me, God did not exist, and the evidence was everywhere for me.
That God did not exist.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like pornography and child pornography.
And you say that because what kind of God would allow such a thing?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. And then the abuse between spouses. There was nowhere that you could see real happiness from the heart. And maybe we were at that time not ready to live that, because what I have understood now, that the universe itself expands and expands, and we humans have to expand too. So it is a dance between the dark and the light that moves us forward. And so, for some mysterious way, I came to America, and I swam with dolphins in Hawaii. And there, I really got the feeling, I'm not supposed to go back to Sweden. I have to stay here. And then I met my husband, who was really into spirituality and had done all the things, but his heart was not open. But I didn't understand that then yet. And so we did this dance as man and wife, and he was very impressed with my gifts that I was given from a very young age, to sense and to know and to already read something that somebody else hadn't seen. Anyway, my fast track there was, I am one with everything.
When did you realize that?
I think it was in 1990 when I came here. I was standing somewhere, and suddenly, and now you can say the use word God, everything became God. Everything became God. Everything danced. Each grass stroke was vibrating like it was an amazing little being by itself, and saying, see me. And then, well, I was studying a lot of metaphysical books, but in reality, we all are frequencies and vibrations. Though we see each other as human beings in the physical, but in reality, we are spirit first, having a physical experience. And so, if the frequency is upgraded by opening your heart, you see very different things than when the heart is closed. And so, what happened to me is that I don't know, I was just blessed, I was given all those wonderful experiences of knowing that when the heart is open to see, and also come to this place of, okay, the more I merge into that frequency, the more I see a difference in other people. And the other people are a reflection of what is happening in me. And so we come a little bit off of what you're asking me, but what is God? What God is, and as Reverend Raymond said, he is omnipresent, omnipotent. So where can he not be? But for me, the word God doesn't really, still not resonates to me. But when I say I'm the universe, which totally resonates me because I know the stars are there and they are, and the Milky Way and the planets, they are there, and I know they feel me and I can feel them. So when I say I'm the universe, my whole body starts going on a higher frequency, which I even can feel now while I talk to you. And I become one with all that exists, what is so called God.
Okay, a lot of things to comment on there. First, let's just take the word God. I just believe that sometimes that troubles people, and sometimes it thrills people to say God, to use that word. But I do know, it's kind of weird. Wasn't going to say this on this kind of platform, maybe the people in private, but sometimes I think I'm in alignment with the view of an atheist, only because the God that was created in their mind to say that doesn't exist, I kind of believe that, yeah, that doesn't exist either. God is more.
Right?
And the minute that we limit our thoughts connected to this small or our biggest idea that we can imagine, and we call it God, I where I am at, it is so much more bigger
Right.
than just that idea that we understand God, how I did as a child growing up in church. It's so much more. Those to me, those words only point to a way. And then when you start using the word, and when you stay too close to it, now you have something to say is not true. For example, look at. I really didn't want to talk too much about the horrible stuff that's going on in the world right now, here in America with the most recent stuff with the police brutality. But you have to wonder if you have that idea of God, where is God in that?
In that moment,
In
yes.
that moment, where is that
And
God?
nobody came to help this man. They all stood there. That is even worse. So they were passive and let it happen. And so where is God at that moment?
Those are the times when making God to me to relate him, her, it, the universe on a human level can be an issue because it's just a small way of seeing God. And if it works for you, great, good, carry on. But for some souls, I know that's trouble. And I can think of a few now who spend a lot of time trying to say that there is no God and finding every particular Facebook meme out there to discredit any idea of God because somewhere along the lines, I feel they may have been let down by their small idea of viewing God. And I just would like to encourage them all to see it beyond that little way that we have ever been taught what God is. Because really, at the end, I feel like we don't know anything. We just.
I do believe that here we come back to frequency and vibrations. So if the frequency in your body is in the lower chakras, you can only see that far. You can only see that much. And so to see God as an expanded figure, so as you talk about, because people have humanized God more or less, and so as their frequency is on a lower level, they cannot see beyond that point. And so when you ask them to see a little bit more, or fear comes up, or they block themselves, and so they cannot go with you. And so I believe in the universe there is going to be a total shift because that is what we're going through now. And people are made to see there is more to God than the word I have given value. They will slowly start opening their eyes and see. Because if you just look at a flower and how a baby is The conception of a baby by itself, how can that not blow your mind? That is totally amazing, a miracle on this planet. But how many people stand still and say, yes, this is a miracle, if you think where it came from, what happened?
If you get technical, it's friction. It's two people coming together, and there's friction. It may feel good at one point, but there still is friction that
Right.
creates this explosion.
Right.
And then there's another level in
Right.
the growth that happens.
Right. That is true, and that everything in the universe moves spirally. Nothing comes straight. So everything is in a certain movement because of the energy. And also we as humans are made up. We have electricity, and we are also, what was that other word? Electricity. Well, I'll remember that a little bit later. So we see each other in the physical form, but we are so much more. We are amazing. If we give ourselves the chance to open up to all those talents that we have, and not get up in the morning and say, I have my coffee, and then I do this, and then I do that, and then I do this. You're so in a routine that the universe cannot even come in and say, how about a little miracle today? And you move through that miracle, and you feel the presence. And then you can say, okay, this is the presence of God. Then I can use that word. You see, but to say it in a manner that I am God, that is kind of a little, I'm the universe. I fly.
That challenges some people sometimes.
Yeah,
you know,
right,
when,
right.
when you say that.
Right.
I think I've heard it best, or a way for me to digest a little bit was to imagine the ocean as God.
Right.
And we're just
The
the
wave.
tiny cup, or the wave, or the ripple, or whatever within. And I'm okay with that. I don't feel like God's going to strike me dead.
No. It is like you could see that Europe is an old tree and America is still a young tree, where the branches are still growing in.
Okay, hold on a second. We have technical difficulties. Is it mine? Okay. How about now?
Yeah.
All right. Now, are we on?
Yeah.
A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3. Look at me. All right. Okay, cool. So,
Are there any questions?
I had some questions.
Oh, you have two questions.
But I also have a statement.
Okay.
Okay? Because we were talking about divine order.
Right.
And the word today is divine order. I am one with the divine order of the universe. Divine order is the glue that holds the universe together. The planets maintain their orbit around the sun. The stars hold their appointed places. The sun rises and sets, and the hours in between reflect this order. Yet there are times when I feel as if I should have an out of order sign fixed to my back. When I feel this way, spending time in prayer keeps me aligned with the universe. I turn away from seeing chaos and still my thoughts for a moment. Breathing in peace, I become calm and allow the truth to permeate my mind. I am one with the divine order of the universe. I keep this affirmation uppermost in my mind for the remainder of the day, paying special attention to and giving thanks for even the smallest demonstrations of order. Divine order. You know, before we started, I told you this stuff that's on the rise right now is just still swimming in the back of my mind. And I just have trouble finding divine order in this, but I know I do see some beautiful things behind the scenes. I do see where other people are seeing things and speaking up where they may not have before. Personally, I don't feel that I can speak up and say anything to get anyone to see anymore, but I see other people speaking up now that may not have said anything before. So Maybe this is the divine order that must happen. I know that when Dr. King was marching for civil rights, when he was there were a lot of people that just wanted him to be quiet, even his own people. Well, it wasn't until the death of Dr. King that such a movement come in where the true compassion could be felt inside, that energy, that vibration to make it change, to get us to the next level.
Right.
Unfortunately, darkness must come in for the light to prevail.
Right.
It's just tough. It's just a tough thing. But other people are going to have to do something in order to see a change happen in the world, in my opinion. And it's affecting people differently. And it's my hopes that we can all do something a little different and move beyond this and get through this divine order.
I do feel, Melvin, that just by you speaking about it here and now, you're already doing something. And I feel that many of us have been very quiet and not said anything. And I do believe that we all need to say this is not right. And if I remember right, that the government or the mayor has removed the policeman who
Yes, I believe they were
fired, and so this is one of the first times that there was direct an action onto something. I do believe, so the something was different.
It's different.
And I do believe in the universe that sometimes somebody offers himself for a better result, like Martin Luther King.
Wasn't there another guy about 2,000 years ago who did something similar? And that happened to that Jesus fellow?
Well, I don't think I totally agree on that. I think that
well, the story goes.
Yeah, that the story goes. But I've been many times with Jesus, and he's taking me up, and I have never felt that Jesus pure love, pure love. And so why would he offer his life for us? But that is a big issue. Let's not go there.
Let's not go into that tonight. I'm barely equipped to go through this one. So, if God is everywhere, how do we reconcile the negativity, the hatred, and abuse and the violence?
Well, as I mentioned before, hatred and violence comes from ignorance. And ignorance is when you live in the lower chakras and the reptilian brain.
Reptilian brain.
The reptilian brain is the first brain that is formed when we are created. And that is what fear and lack and response to fear lives in. And as we are 85-90% subconscious, which is the reptilian brain again, and subconscious remembers everything, especially from childhood. The first 7 years are programmed, and you live those programs without realizing it. It's like the fish swimming in the water. He doesn't know that he's swimming in the water. But that's what we do. We live in those repatterning of the programs that have been recorded when we are children. And so the negativity we see out there is the result of the pain that everybody has experienced and brings out into the world of not loving yourself and not accepting yourself.
How do you see forgiveness connected to that with the pain in the world? How do we forgive in those moments?
Well, for me, that I feel that I cannot speak for other people, but for me, forgiveness is the greatest gift to myself. If I can forgive that I have done something that was painful for somebody else, I have to forgive that part in me that wanted to hurt because I was hurting. So if I forgive myself, I go to a place and I forgive myself. And then when I feel I am in a place where I feel that I have forgiven myself, then I can go to that person that I have been rude to or whatever I have done. I go and I look in their eyes and I hold their hands and I say, I ask for apologize or can you forgive me? And was not what I meant. Can we redo it? Can we do it over? And then that's where the healing comes in when you approach it from that way. Nobody's wrong. I'm not wrong. That person is wrong. It was just a situation that was created where buttons were pushed, and so we went to a place of defending ourselves. That is what it most is about. The negativity out in the world is the lack of self-love.
The lack of self-love. I like that. How would you get around allowing people to have their views about God, whether they believe in God or not, or the different God that they practice? How do you feel about, sometimes people have walls up around what they think God is. How do we respect other people's view of God and keep going?
Well, His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, it is good that we have different religions and different opinions because we can keep on discussing. But we in the Western world haven't learned to discuss and respect each other. We're so filled up with ourselves, with our own stories, that we have difficulties listening to the other person.
Mm-hmm.
We want to, what I feel, instead of saying, let me open myself and be with you and listen with you. And then you have a common level where both feel heard and where both are listening to each other. But the main problem is that most people cannot listen, or they have not the capacity to listen because the story in their head is so potent that it is pushing so hard that they cannot listen.
You said in the Western. Do you see that here more in the West than any place else where one has such a strong opinion about what they think they believe?
Well, in the Western world, there is this reoccurring of low self-esteem and low self-worth. When His Holiness the Dalai Lama was asked about happiness is in his book where he talks about this, when the journalist asked him, what do you think about low self-esteem? And he had to ask his interpreter, what is that? What does he mean? And he didn't even know what it was because in his world it didn't exist. Children were, purely loved. But if you have no low self-esteem in yourself, you can't give it to your child because it doesn't exist. But if you have low self-esteem and dislike yourself and don't accept yourself, that child, that little child, that is God, being created by God and is full of feelings, picks that up and then it has low self-esteem too. And so that's why in the Western world, low self-esteem is really strong. That's why all those gurus make so much money.
Yeah, I can see that. Last week, Reverend Raymond talked about being unapologetic in this view of God. Can you go into your take on that? How do you feel about that? I was actually motivated by what he said.
Well, I could feel what he said because I was totally with him and I was so impressed with him and I felt so in love with his high frequency where he spoke from. I could see he was totally guided by the divine. And I could hear what he was saying, and also knowing that he came from, as he said, from a Baptist world. The church, the Baptist church is very, has rules, let's say it that way. And for him to be, as he said himself, in his family to express that he is God, the new way of how he spoke about it. He needs to be God and stand in that power because they will not take him serious otherwise. So he has not to be 100% God. He has to be God 200% to let them see this is who I am. This is who I am. Come with me. For me, myself, I can be apologetic, but I'm a female, so I do not have the male energy on that level. But yeah, I would, if somebody wouldn't understand, I would be kind of, how can I explain it? Let me apologize for you feeling in upset or in disharmony with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think where he was with that, I'm in alignment with it too, is this almost pressure to view God in this particular way, how I grew up, though I felt like I was oozing out of the mold.
Right.
So in order for me to be whatever shape that it is that I am, it does require a certain bit of unapologetic attitude
Yeah,
to,
yeah, yeah.
to stand outside of that, especially as a man who was raised in the Baptist world.
Right.
It is different for me,
Yeah.
and so I was actually encouraged by those words last week.
I understand. It was very encouraging, and I hope that many people could receive him on that level where he came from, love, because that's where he came from. That
Yeah.
was so beautiful.
Yeah, I thought it was a radical thing to say, and it is sort of in alignment with the thought, even in the unity messages that we are God too. But what the part that he was bringing to it, the other part was it isn't so much all of this as much as it is being here to both the father and the mother aspect of God coming to be there to deal with what is beautiful light and the pain and the stuff that's not so great and good that is necessary to take us to that next level. So I don't hear that talk too much when I go and see things, but it resonates deep within me. It just makes total sense. And I also think that conversations like this may actually bring in our youth a little bit more. My son and I have fantastic conversations that I couldn't have had with other people when I was his age. I was either made to, I can remember, boy, don't question the Bible. I mean, it just came from that kind of tone, but I allowed him to explore. And he and I can have conversations that I wish I could have had with anybody 20, 30 years ago, anybody. So my son isn't just one person. There are plenty of them out there because you do not see them in regular church all the time. But yeah.
I hear you, and I think that is the way to get the young people in to speak about the universe that way. I do believe, and not the old structure anymore where we have and God that is.
When I first asked you about how you grew up and viewed God, you mentioned being kind of like being that younger kid there, and where let's just say this. I think if you had something that connected to you where you were told to be in this rule or this and that, you may have been allowed to allow that part of that relationship with God grow with you wherever it was. Do you follow what I'm saying?
No, I don't
Let
understand.
me say it differently. I'm sensing that you had a connection with God at a younger age that was not exercised because you were trying to learn it through the lens that you were seeing God through. But if you were encouraged to have that with God at that time, who knows where you could have been.
Right.
And it took you a long time where you set yourself until 90 to actually make that connection where you could feel the vibration, where you could feel it inside you, where you connect with God.
Right, that is true. But also my father, as I see it, he was a master, and my mother was a medium, and so they
And he was a
knew
master. What does that mean?
that he was very evolved,
Okay.
and he was very gifted,
Okay.
and so when my father noticed that I could see, and that I had all those gifts myself, he kind of did not want me to go into it, because at that time that was not accepted
Mhm.
of the church, and so he protected me. But if as you say, if he had helped me, it would have been not so a conflict for me, because I saw some things, but they were always put, no, that is not so, that no, that's not right. You get almost the feeling that you are kind of a little mentally ill, because you see things and they deny it.
Mhm.
And so it took a long time before I um, could talk actually about what all the things I could see. And it is not only seeing, I can feel. I can feel people in other countries. When I speak with them, once I've spoken with them, I can feel them. So I've been very lucky to have those gifts, but I never misused them.
You talked about the dolphin experience, because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think one of the first things you wanted to do to come here was to go swimming with the dolphins. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right. And you did, and they about carried you out to sea.
Yeah.
Were you a little too connected? What happened there?
Well, so I was swimming, and I heard a voice saying, look to your right. And there was, because I was looking everywhere else with my snorkel, and there was a mother with her baby. And so when we connected, I mean, with the dolphins, they know before you know. And so when she saw that I noticed her, she said, swim with me. And so I swam with them, but I'm not really a good swimmer. When I went on that group with the dolphins swimming, and they asked, are you a beaver, are you a dog, or a cat? Well, I'm more a cat in the water. And but this dolphin and the baby that was swimming around me and touching me, and it was just darling. So, and then we swam, and we swam, and we swam, and we swam, and I started a little bit like, how far out are we? And as soon as I became fearful, off she went, visible. And I was far out in the bay. It's Captain Cook's Bay there. I was far out in the bay, and I almost went like blub, 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 that far in that big water. But life force is there and says you want to live. So I paddled back to the beach.
So you made like a cat and swam back.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was amazing. It was kind of. And when the dolphins go with their snout into the sand and the sun shines on it, it has all the colors, this full spectrum of the universe is there in the water. It is amazing. It was just an amazing experience.
Well, I'll leave that to you. I'll leave the dolphins alone. But another question that I have for you is, what do you think would be the next step for to grab the younger audience, to get the youth in? How do we connect with young people? Do you have any idea what we can do?
Well, I feel maybe not have so many rules in the church, and have more engage them more in making music, or engage the children in, so that they feel a part of it, and maybe look at how many routines we have in the church. Maybe we could change that a little bit.
Well, we're definitely getting a change right now, aren't we?
Yes, and that's wonderful. That's wonderful. We need to change.
My son expressed interest in coming on the show. Yeah.
Wow. That's wonderful.
right? Maybe that kind of thing. You
Yeah,
know, this be a
right.
different kind of church with them.
Yeah, right.
All right, what do we have? Okay, a question came in. How do you practice self-love? And she said that. Okay, all right. How do you practice on self-love?
Well, there is only one practice,
Okay,
and that is you start breathing into your body. And when I say breathing, you really have to be committed to this. You breathe slowly into the deepest part of your body, and you maybe do that for 10, 15 minutes, and you be there with yourself. And then the body opens up because you have energetically entered into your body. Most of the time, when we are in a hurry and we breathe on the shallow, we are outside of our body. Our energy field is outside. But with the breath, we bring ourselves into the body and we open up and then we breathe. And then you just say to yourself, I accept myself, I love myself. And it is better, you can only accept yourself before you can love yourself. Those two go together. And this you do. Or you imagine the next thing would be what you can do is you imagine your mouth on your heart and you breathe through your heart to open up your heart. So there are different techniques, but the breath is the greatest gift you have. And like Thich Nhat Hanh says, I breathe in and I smile, and I breathe out, I smile. There are words that are soft on the body and the body likes because the body is listening. We have all those cells that have an intelligence. We have trillions of cells and trillions of neurons, and all those have an intelligence and they're listening. I remember in the 80s, I was reading Deepak Chopra's book about this, and I said, well, how can the body hear anything? Now everybody knows
no,
this.
we know that.
And Bruce Lipton is fantastic. He talks really beautiful about that. You don't need to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to heal yourself. You have your own inner healing. The healer is waiting for you to awaken and say, work this. I want to heal myself. I want to accept and love myself. And it are those two words you have to work with. I accept and love myself. Over and over, and say nice mantras to yourself. Have nice mantras on your fridge. Say, do I want to be the victim or do I want to be victorious? And all those things we have to re-tape in our subconscious. And that is not done over a week, and it is not done over a month. That takes years if you have been really the victim. But you get out of it because I got out of it, and if I could do it, you can do it. So
You talked about the breath.
Yeah.
And I will have to have another show sometime, and I have someone in mind to talk more about that. But you're right. There is. It's a good thing that we don't that we breathe automatically because we probably wouldn't do it correctly because we're not doing very good job of it right now. There's so much more to it. I mean, even in yoga, it's about incorporating the breath with the body, and so and to my friends, it is more yoga is more than stretching. Okay, there's more to it. So yeah, we probably should do another show and to talk about that. Do you have a favorite quote that you keep in your mind, or scripture, or something like that? What words come to you that you use as inspiration besides your own personal great ones that
Well,
that I think are great anyway? What do you have?
well, I like to go to Om Mani Padme Hum. That means the light is within you, and that is from the Buddhist tradition. I myself feel attracted to the Buddhism because everything is respected and everything has an interconnection, and that's how I see the universe. I believe is not in all religions that we see, I can just dig up something and not understand that digging up, I have moved the earth and something is affected by it. So yeah, otherwise I do a lot of chanting and love kirtan um, and I'm very silent, but the Om Mani Padme Hum is my favorite one.
Okay. And a lot of silence in
Yeah.
meditation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Well, one thing that I do is that, and I've done this for many years, that when I wake up, I do breathings for about half an hour. I breathe into my body and then I say mantras like, you're doing fine. The breath is opening up your body. You're accepted and you're loved in this world. And I fill myself up for this day that art is coming to me so miracles can happen and I can be a light for other people.
Do you have any people that you follow, any top 3 influential people along the way?
No, I'm my own
I knew
master.
you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say something like that.
Yeah. Well, I must say that I have an amazing array of helpers on the other side. They are always, I have lived a very single life or a singularity life. I've been as a child, very much alone. And even now, spend a lot of time alone. So I've had always my guides and my teachers on the other side. In the most loving way, have they taken care of me. So I feel very fortunate that way.
Part of this show, and something that I'm doing is as well as just showing other ways that people connect to God, but I'm also trying to encourage people to see more of the feminine side of God. And this is something that I know speaks dear to you because you're talking about the mother. You talked about that part a lot. Is there anything that you could say differently than I have tonight about the importance of seeing what that's about by connecting to the mother aspect?
Well, I can only, of course, speak for me. That for me, the mother aspect is tenderness. Tenderness in your hands. So when you touch a child that is filled with tenderness and the child feels that straight away. Tenderness and gentleness and that is for me the most important part, tenderness and grace. And because women, the feminine side in women is to be that, but we are not always supported to live in that way.
Yes, and this is where I'm saying right now, we're all that we need to embrace that part a little bit more.
Right.
And yes, absolutely.
And also because now men and women are so equal that sometimes women forget how beautiful it is to be female and stay in that female energy.
Okay, player. Would you, where are we now? Oh, 5 to 8, beautiful. Would you help close this out tonight by either prayer or meditation? How would you like to close out?
Okay, let's do a small meditation.
That sounds good.
I would like you to tap on your heart, gently tap on your heart and say, I'm home. I live here. And then we close our eyes. And we put the right hand on the chest and the left hand on top of it. So the masculine is touching the body and the female is touching the masculine. These are nourishing and loving way of holding everything together. And I want you to imagine to walk on a meadow. As this spring, the meadow is beautifully green with wildflowers. That's where you're walking. Is this body totally alive? Because you just tapped on your heart and you said you're home. You feel the earth underneath your feet. And between your toes are little pieces of earth coming, saying, oh, I'm here, I'm tickling you, and you can feel the earth. And it goes up on your legs. And it goes up through your thighs, and it goes all through your body. The Mother Earth is present in you. And you walk, and you walk, and you walk in this wonderful meadow with all the color spectrum being present. And then from the top, above your head, is this golden orb that goes in through your crown chakra. Your crown chakra opens up, and the golden orb comes in, moves in through your head, touching all parts in your head, and comes down by your neck, touching all parts in your neck, and then comes out to your shoulders, where it goes back out to your arms first. It splits in two, and it goes down to your arms, into your fingertips. And remember to breathe. Breathe into your body. And when it has touched your fingertips, the golden orb comes back, unites in your chest, and goes down your chest, spins around in your heart, and leaves a lot of gold in your heart, and your heart is just vibrating with this beautiful frequency of the universe. And in the meantime, Mother Earth has come also to the heart. And so we have there gold as the father and the dark earth of the mother. Her beautiful essence, both of them are in your heart spinning. The mother is spinning counterclockwise and the father is spinning clockwise. Together they are spinning, and you're still walking in this meadow. And it is now time to lay down in the meadow on the earth among the wildflowers. And you say to yourself, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender. I let go of that what I no longer need. I'm willing to accept and love myself. I'm willing to accept and love myself. I'm willing to accept and love myself. And then you sit up and you know that there is a new way of being with yourself has been born. You're willing to accept and love yourself. And then you go back, you walk back to where you are, back into your body, and you tap on your heart. You tap on your heart and you say home, and you open your eyes and you're present with yourself. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Claire. For those who do not know Claire, I would highly encourage you to look her up. She does fantastic energy work. She's done it on me a few times. It's great stuff. Check out Claire Whitman.
Woohoo!
Thanks, Claire, for being here.
Thank you.
And as a reminder to you all, get back to the roots. Let's grow these spiritual roots. And don't forget, see God. Oh, yeah. We should always see God. We're going to come back to that one. But to carry on this conversation, we're going to do it on Zoom next so we can see from you all. I think we're going to throw a link up here. And we'll throw the link up here. And right after the show, we'll post a link so that you can join us on Zoom. We have about 40 minutes there. And now we close out. Seek God, love God, and your neighbor as yourself. Namaste.